I've worked jobs that make people uncomfortable at dinner parties. Overnight at a plasma donation center, watching strangers sell parts of themselves for gas money. Graveyard security at an impound lot where the cars still smelled like the accidents that put them there. A 6-month stint cleaning out apartments after evictions, bagging lives into trash bags while the locks got changed behind me. None of it haunted me. It was just work. Just people at the edges of things, trying to stay above water. But the Bellworth was different. The Bellworth didn't want workers. It wanted witnesses. The listing was buried on page 4 of a job board. I only checked when my account balance started looking like a countdown. Night concierge, the Bellworth residential. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. competitive hourly. Studio apartment included. Must be comfortable with silence. Must be attentive to detail. No prior experience necessary. Discretion required. That last line should have been a warning. Discretion required is what hotels say when politicians visit, not what a residential building says when hiring someone to sign for packages. But studio apartment included spoke louder than my instincts. I'd been sleeping on my cousin's couch for 3 weeks. My back had started to curve around the armrest. My pride had already curved around worse. I applied at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. They called at 6 a.m. Wednesday. Mr. Owens? A woman's voice, clipped and professional, like she was reading from a script. This is the Bellworth. You're available for nights? I sat up so fast my neck cracked. Yes. I can interview whenever. No interview. The position requires a specific temperament. We've reviewed your history. My history? Previous employment. Living situation. You're between places. You work well alone. You don't ask unnecessary questions. A pause. Do you ask unnecessary questions, Mr. Owens? My mouth opened, then closed. Good, she said, as if I'd answered. Report tonight at 10 for orientation. Bring nothing you wouldn't want to lose. The building provides the rest. The line clicked dead. I stared at the phone like it had grown teeth. Then I packed a bag and told my cousin I'd found a place. The Bellworth sat on the corner of Marsh and Laurel like a dropped monument, 14 stories of pre-war brick, the kind of building that used to mean something. Stone gargoyles crouched at the roofline, worn smooth by decades of weather. The windows were tall and arched, but half of them were dark, even though it was only early evening. The awning out front was green and fraying, stitched with gold thread that had long since lost its shine. The lobby doors were heavy oak and glass, and they didn't open easily. I had to push with my shoulder. Inside, marble floors veined with gray, a chandelier missing a third of its crystals, and the smell of old wood polish over something fainter, something like basements and standing water. A woman waited at the front desk. She was maybe 60, silver hair pinned tight, wearing a blazer that hadn't been in style since Reagan. Her name tag said Mrs. Kent, building manager, Mr. Owens, not a question. She knew. That's me. She slid a manila folder across the desk. Sign pages 1, 4, and 7. Initial where indicated. I opened the folder. The first page was a lease agreement for a basement studio. The rent was listed as $0, with a note, included with position. Page 4 was an NDA non-disclosure, the language thick and legal. Page 7 was blank, except for my name typed at the bottom, and a line for my signature. What's page 7 for? I asked. Acknowledgement. Of what? She looked at me the way teachers look at students, who ask questions they should already know the answers to. That you've read the rules. I flipped through the folder. Behind page 7, a single sheet of paper had been folded into thirds, the creases worn soft with handling. I haven't read them yet, I said. You will. Tonight, before your first round. She tapped the signature line. Sign now, read after. That's how it's done. My pen hovered. The apartment, I said. It's real? I can move in tonight. The keys are in the folder. Bottom floor, Unit B4. The elevator won't take you there. Use the stairs at the end of the east hallway. She paused. The building likes its concierge close. I signed. She slid a brass key and a plastic badge across the desk. The badge had my photo on it, a photo I didn't remember taking. Your shift starts at 11. Read the rules before then. All of them. Even the ones that seem like jokes. Her mouth did something that wasn't quite a smile. They're not jokes. She walked toward the elevator, then stopped. One more thing. The building has been here since 1927. It has patterns, routines. You are not here to change them. You are here to observe them. Do you understand? I think so. You will. The elevator opened before she pressed the button. The doors closed behind her without a sound. Unit B4 was exactly as promised. A studio apartment in the basement. Small but clean. Single bed pressed against the wall. Kitchenette with a hot plate and a mini fridge that hummed too loudly. A bathroom with a shower stall and no window. The only natural light came from a narrow window at ceiling height, showing the legs of people walking past on the sidewalk above. I set my bag on the bed and sat in the single chair by the single desk. The folder was still in my hand. I unfolded the rules. The Bellworth Night Concierge Protocol read in full. Follow exactly. Do not deviate. 1. Check the lobby security monitors every 15 minutes. There are 6 cameras. Lobby, East Hall, West Hall, Elevator Bank, Stairwell A, and Stairwell B. If any screen shows a hallway that doesn't match the building's layout, do not mention it. Check again in 10 minutes. If it's still wrong, unplug the monitor, count to 10, and plug it back in. Do not review the footage. 2. Apartment 4F has been vacant since 1983. Mail is still delivered. Sort it with the other residents' mail and leave it in the box. If someone buzzes from 4F asking to be let in, buzz them in. Do not ask who they are visiting. 3. The elevator serves floors 1 to 14. If the floor indicator displays 15 while you are in the lobby, do not look at the elevator doors. Wait until the display returns to a normal floor. If you hear the doors open, say "Good evening" without turning around. Do not ask which floor they came from. 4. Between 2 a.m. and 2:40 a.m., you may hear footsteps in Stairwell A. If the footsteps are going up, this is normal. If the footsteps are going down, return to the lobby immediately and do not enter either stairwell until 3 a.m. 5. Mrs. Bellard in 7B passed away in 2019. You may see her in the lobby between midnight and 1 a.m. If you do, say "Good evening, Mrs. Bellard," and allow her to pass. Do not offer assistance. Do not make eye contact for more than 2 seconds. She dislikes being noticed. 6. The sub-basement is for storage only. There is no running water below B level. If you hear pipes, do not investigate. If you hear voices, do not respond. If you hear your name, leave the basement entirely and do not return until your next shift. 7. If a resident complains about noise from an apartment you know to be vacant, log the complaint as resolved, no action required. Do not visit the apartment. Do not knock on the door. Some doors are better left closed. 8. The rooftop access door must remain locked at all times during your shift. If you find it unlocked, lock it without opening it. If you find it open, close it without stepping onto the roof. You may see someone standing at the edge. They are not asking for help. Do not call out to them. 9. Apartment 11C has a dog. You may hear it barking at exactly 3:33 a.m. This is expected. If the barking occurs at any other time, call the emergency number on the desk phone and say, "The 11th floor is awake." Do not wait for a response. Do not go to the 11th floor until daylight. 10. If a package arrives addressed to a resident not listed in the directory, accept it politely. After the courier leaves, write "Return addressee unknown" on the label and place it in the outgoing mail bin. Do not open it. Do not hold it overnight. It is not for you. 11. During your 4 a.m. round, you may smell cigarette smoke in the 6th floor hallway. No resident on the 6th floor smokes. Walk at a normal pace. Do not stop. Do not look into apartment 6E, even if the door is open, especially if the door is open. 12. If the lobby phone rings between 3 o'clock and 4 a.m., answer on the 3rd ring, not the 2nd, not the 4th. If the caller asks whether their package arrived, say, "I'll check in the morning." If the caller asks whether you are alone, say, "The building is quiet tonight." If the caller says nothing, stay on the line for exactly 10 seconds, then hang up. Do not speak first. 13. Your shift ends at 7 a.m. Leave through the front entrance only. If the sun has not risen by 7 a.m., wait in the lobby with the lights on until it does. Do not begin another round. The night ends when you say it ends. At the bottom of the page, in handwriting different from the typed rules blue ink, slightly shaky, someone had added, "The building remembers everyone who lives here. You live here now." Beneath that, in pencil, barely legible, "Don't let it learn your habits." I read the rules 3 times. The first time, I laughed. The second time, I memorized them. The third time, I folded the paper and slid it into my back pocket, where I could feel its edges against my skin like a rosary. At 10:58, I took the stairs up to the lobby. The concierge desk was a curved wooden counter facing the front doors, with a small bank of monitors behind it and a rotary phone older than I was. The chair was leather and cracked. The monitors showed grainy feeds of empty hallways, fluorescent lit and still. 6 cameras: lobby, East Hall, West Hall, elevator bank, stairwell is stairwell B, all present, all correct. I checked the mailroom. Rows of brass boxes with apartment numbers, most of them dull with age. 4F's box had 3 pieces of mail in it, a utility bill, a catalog for seeds, and something handwritten with no return address. I sorted it like the others. The elevator dinged. I looked up. The floor indicator read 7. An elderly woman stepped out, small and bird-boned, wearing a housecoat and slippers. She walked past the desk without looking at me, heading for the front doors. "Evening," I said, automatically. She stopped, turned. Her eyes were clouded cataracts. Maybe, but focused on me with an intensity that made my chest tighten. "You're new," she said. "First night," I said. "I'm the new concierge." She tilted her head, like a bird listening for a worm. "Read the rules?" "Yes." "All of them?" "Yes," she smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Mrs. Ballard hasn't come down yet," she said. "She likes to walk the lobby when it's quiet. Don't keep her waiting." Before I could respond, she shuffled toward the elevator and pressed the button. The doors opened immediately. She stepped in without pressing a floor. The doors closed. I watched the indicator climb. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. A number held for 3 seconds, then dropped back to 7. I did not look at the doors. Midnight came like a held breath releasing. The lobby lights flickered once, just once, and the chandelier crystals chimed softly, though there was no wind. I was doing my first official round, flashlight in hand, checking locks and corners. East Hall, clear. Fluorescent lights buzzing at a frequency that lived in my teeth. Apartment doors closed, light spilling from the gaps at the bottom of some, dark at others. I counted the numbers as I passed. 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. At the end of the hall, the stairwell door stood slightly ajar. My hand went to it, automatically closed the door, standard procedure. Then I remembered. If any door is open after 12:31, do not close it yourself. But it was only midnight. The rule said 12:31. I closed the door. It clicked shut, normal, unremarkable. I kept walking. Behind me, the door opened again. Not fast, not violent. Just a slow creak, like the building was exhaling. I didn't turn around. I walked to the end of the hall, took the corner, and continued my round. When I passed that hallway again 20 minutes later, the door was closed. At 12:47, I saw Mrs. Bellard. I was restocking the mail slots with outgoing letters when I felt the air pressure change the way it does when a large door opens somewhere far away and the building adjusts. I turned. She was standing by the elevator bank, old, older than the woman I'd spoken to earlier, older than anyone I'd seen in the building, wearing a nightgown that might have been white once, bare feet on marble, hands clasped in front of her like she was waiting for a bus. She was looking at me. Rule 5. If you see her in the lobby between midnight and 1 a.m., say, "Good evening, Mrs. Bellard," and allow her to pass. Do not offer assistance. Do not make eye contact for more than 2 seconds. "Good evening, Mrs. Bellard," I said. My voice sounded strange, too loud, too present. She smiled. Her teeth were wrong. Too many, or too few, I couldn't tell, and I didn't want to look long enough to count. She walked past me, her feet making no sound on the marble, and stopped at the front doors. She placed one hand against the glass, palm flat, like she was testing whether it was real. Then she turned and walked toward the east hallway, disappearing around the corner. I exhaled. The handprint stayed on the glass for another 3 seconds before fading. The sub-basement called to me at 1:30 a.m. I wasn't supposed to go down there. Rule 6 was clear. Storage only, no running water. Don't investigate, don't respond, don't go if you hear your name. But the sound wasn't water. It wasn't voices. It was music. A piano, playing something slow and sad-saddy, maybe, or something older. The notes drifted up through the floor of my apartment, through the thin walls, into the stairwell where I stood. The Bellworth didn't have a piano. I checked the amenities list. No music room, no lounge, no common area with instruments. But someone was playing. I took one step down. The music stopped. Silence pressed against my ears like a hand. Then, from somewhere below, a door closed. I went back up to the lobby and didn't check the sub-basement again. The 2 a.m. footsteps came right on schedule. I was at the desk, filling out the logbook. 12 o'clock. Lobby quiet. 1 o'clock. Resident sighting. 7B. Expected. 1:30. Auditory anomaly. Sub-basement. No action taken when I heard them. Stairwell. A footsteps climbing. Slow and steady, like someone in no hurry. If the footsteps are going up, this is normal. I kept riding. The footsteps climbed past the first floor, past the second, past the third. They grew fainter, but didn't stop. Then, at what sounded like the 8th or 9th floor, they paused and started coming back down. If the footsteps are going down, return to the lobby immediately. I was already in the lobby, but the rules said return, like I should leave and come back. Like the lobby wasn't safe if I'd been here the whole time. I stood up. The footsteps were louder now, faster, each one landing harder than the last, echoing down the stairwell shaft. 7th floor, 6th, 5th. I walked to the far side of the lobby, behind the desk, putting the counter between me and the stairwell door. 4th floor, 3rd. The building groaned, a deep structural sound, like something shifting in its sleep. 2nd floor. The stairwell door rattled in its frame. I stopped breathing. 1st floor. Silence. The door didn't open. I stood frozen for what felt like an hour, but was probably 30 seconds. Then the elevator dinged, soft and pleasant, and the display showed 7. No one got out. I sat down and didn't move until 3 a.m. At 3 o'clock, the phone rang. Not the rotary phone on my desk, a different ring, higher and older, coming from somewhere behind the mail slots. I followed the sound and found a wall-mounted phone I hadn't noticed before, black and heavy, the kind with a cloth-wrapped cord. It was mounted between 4 East and 4F's mailboxes. It rang a second time. Answer on the third ring. Not the second, not the fourth. I waited. Third ring. I picked up. The Bellworth, I said. Concierge desk. Static. Not the harsh static of a bad connection. The soft static of an open line, like someone breathing into a receiver in a quiet room. Then, has my package arrived? A man's voice. Neutral. Neither young nor old. If the caller asks whether their package arrived, say, "I'll check in the morning." "I'll check in the morning," I said. Pause. "Are you alone?" If the caller asks whether you are alone, say, "The building is quiet tonight." Longer pause. The static shifted, like the caller was moving. That's not what I asked. My throat tightened. Do not speak first. I stayed silent. 10 seconds. I hung up. The phone didn't ring again. 3:33 a.m. The dog in 11C barked. It started suddenly, one sharp bark, then another, then a sustained volley that echoed down the elevator shaft. I could hear it from the lobby, muffled but unmistakable. The barking at 3:33 is expected. I checked my watch. 3:33 exactly. The barking stopped at 3:34. I exhaled. Then, at 3:41, it started again. Not the same bark. This one was different, higher, more desperate. The sound of an animal that had seen something it didn't understand. If the barking occurs at any other time, call the emergency number and say, "The 11th floor is awake." I picked up the desk phone and dialed the number on the laminated card. 2 rings. Click. Yes, a woman's voice. Not Mrs. Kent, younger, clipped. "The 11th floor is awake," I said. The 4 a.m. round was the worst. I didn't want to go. Every instinct I had said, stay at the desk, stay in the light, stay where the cameras can see you. But the logbook had columns for every hour, and the empty boxes judged me. I took the east hallway first. The lights flickered but held. Doors stayed closed. I walked at a normal pace, counting apartments, listening to my own footsteps echo. 4th floor, clear. 5th floor, clear. 6th floor. The smell hit me like a wall. Cigarette smoke. Not faint, not drifting. Thick, immediate, like someone was standing right next to me, exhaling into my face. You may smell cigarette smoke in the 6th floor hallway. Walk at a normal pace. Do not stop. I kept walking. Do not look into apartment 6E, even if the door is open. The door to 6E was open, not all the way. Just a crack, enough to see a sliver of darkness beyond, and beyond that, something that might have been a lamp, or might have been a face. I didn't look. My neck ached with the effort of not turning my head. The smell followed me to the end of the hall, and vanished the moment I hit the stairwell. At 6:15, I found the package. It was sitting on the front steps outside, leaning against the doors like someone had left it while I was upstairs. Brown paper wrapping, twine tied in a knot, no return address. The label said, Resident 4F. If a package arrives for a resident not listed in the directory, accept it. Write, return addressee unknown. Do not open it. Do not hold it overnight. The package was warm. I wrote the return notice, placed it in the outgoing bin, and did not think about the fact that no courier had come through the doors. At 6:58, I was at the desk, watching the monitors, counting the minutes. The lobby was gray with pre-dawn light. The chandelier crystals caught the glow and threw faint rainbows on the marble. The elevator indicator sat on 1. The hallways were empty. The stairwells were silent. I checked my watch. 6:59. Your shift ends at 7 a.m. Leave through the front entrance only. The second hand crawled. 6:59 and 30 seconds. The phone rang. I looked at it. It rang again. The rule said answer on the third ring, but the rule was for calls between 3 o'clock and 4 a.m. This was 6:59. The rules didn't cover this. Third ring. I picked up. Hello? Static. Then a voice, my voice, but wrong, like a recording played at the wrong speed. Stay. I hung up. 7 o'clock. I walked out the front doors without looking back. The sun was up barely, a thin line of gold over the buildings to the east. The air smelled like rain and exhaust. A woman jogged past with a dog. A man in a suit checked his phone at the crosswalk. Normal. All of it. Painfully, beautifully normal. I walked around the block twice before going back inside. Mrs. Kent was at the desk when I returned, sorting mail like nothing had happened. First night, she said, not a question. Yeah. How many rules did you break? I thought about the stairwell door. I'd closed at midnight. The phone I'd answered at 6:59. 1, I said. Maybe 2. She nodded, like this was an acceptable number. The building forgives newcomers. Once. She looked at me over her reading glasses. Don't make it a habit. Who wrote the rules? I asked. Everyone who worked here before you. Are they ... Are they still here? She smiled, the first real smile I had seen from her. The building remembers everyone who lives here, she said. You live here now. She went back to sorting mail. I went downstairs to sleep. I worked at the Bellworth for 3 more months. I learned the rhythms, the sounds that meant nothing and the silences that meant everything. I learned which residents nodded and which ones walked past like I was furniture. I learned to check the monitors every 15 minutes, to answer the phone on the third ring, to walk at a normal pace, no matter what I smelled or heard. I learned to say, "Good evening, Mrs. Bellard," without looking at her teeth. I never went to the sub-basement after dark. I never looked at the elevator when it showed 15. I never opened the rooftop door, even when I heard someone knocking from the other side. The dog in 11C barked at 3:33 every night. Most nights, it stopped on time. The package for 4F arrived every Thursday. I stopped wondering who sent it. The phone rang between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, at least twice a week. I answered on the third ring. I said the words the rules told me to say. Sometimes the caller hung up. Sometimes they didn't. I left in November. Not because something bad happened, but because I woke up one morning and realized I'd stopped being surprised. The rules had become routine. The building had become home. And I'd started recognizing faces in the hallways that I was pretty sure had never been there before. My last shift was quiet. No phone calls, no footsteps, no smoke. At 6:55, I sat at the desk and wrote one final entry in the logbook. Night shift complete, building quiet. No incidents to report. New concierge starts Monday. I left the rules sheet in the top drawer, folded along the same creases, worn soft with handling. At 7 o'clock exactly, I walked out. It's been 2 years since the Bellworth. I work days now. I live in a 4th floor walk-up with good light and thin walls. Normal job, normal building, normal life. But sometimes, when I'm alone late at night, I notice things. The elevator in my building serves floors 1 to 5. But last month, just for a second, the indicator showed 6. I didn't look at the doors. Sometimes I smell cigarette smoke in the hallway outside my apartment. None of my neighbors smoke. I walk at a normal pace. Last Tuesday, a package arrived addressed to a previous tenant, no forwarding address, no return label. I wrote, "Return addressee unknown," and left it by the mailboxes. It was gone by morning. The rules I memorized at the Bellworth come back to me sometimes unbidden, like prayers I didn't mean to learn. When my phone rings at 3 a.m., wrong number, spam, doesn't matter, I wait for the third ring before answering. When I pass an open door in a hallway, I don't look inside. When I hear footsteps in a stairwell, I listen for the direction. I don't know if I'm being careful or if I'm being crazy. Maybe there's no difference anymore. But last week, my new neighbor moved into 4F. An elderly woman, lives alone, keeps strange hours. She introduced herself in the hallway, and I said, "Good evening." She smiled. Her teeth were fine. But when I got back to my apartment, there was a piece of paper slid under my door, folded into thirds, creases worn soft, no writing. Just a single line typed, "The building remembers everyone who lives here." Below it, in handwriting I recognized, because it was mine, "You live here now." I don't remember writing that, but I keep the paper in my pocket anyway, folded small, edges pressing against my leg like a heartbeat. Some rules follow you, some buildings don't let go, and some nights, when my own building settles and groans in the dark, I lie awake and wait for the sun, because the night ends when I say it ends, and I haven't said it yet.